Use code WALLAH for any Advanced GG products for 10% off. Thank you. Well, boys and girls, it's a new season, and that means a new setup, a new build I use, and kind of just my setup entirely, what I recommend, what fragments to use, what supers, etc., and what guns I'm going to be using this season. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We're going to start off with the fragments and the supers and stuff. So first of all, I use Gambler's Dodge for obvious reasons. I still want to get my throwing knife every time I dodge next to somebody, and it really negates the whole purpose of using Strength on Hunter. Still using Strafe Jump, and I am still using weighted knives. They introduced the lightweight knife, which is really cool, but I feel like it's a shitty version of the proximity knife because it literally just doesn't explode and it still throws really quickly. I would recommend using the weighted knife if you want to go for those headshots, but the knife trick is actually not too bad either. This season I thought I was going to be using the solar grenade, but on every single class I've been using the healing grenade. It charges extremely quickly, being the second quickest charging grenade, and it's right behind the firebolt grenade at 104. And the reason why I'm not using other grenades like the solar grenade is pretty simple, and that's because I feel like I don't get too much value out of them compared to the healing grenade. You ever throw a grenade and kind of waste it? You throw it at a wall or you throw it at an enemy, they burn for a little bit, you don't really get the kill all too often, and it just seems like a waste. Whereas the healing grenade, you can heal yourself and your allies, and it's always useful because it gives you restoration, so it actually heals you even after the grenade's gone. It heals you maybe for like 4 seconds or something, so it's pretty useful. Now, you have 3 aspects for Golden Gun Hunter. You have On Your Mark, you have Knock 'em Down, and you also have Gunpowder Gamble. If you take the Crucible seriously and really want to win, I would highly suggest using On Your Mark and Knock 'em Down. The Gunpowder Gamble can be fun, but even if you're taking it seriously, these 2 aspects are still a lot more fun because Gunpowder Gamble honestly doesn't really work all too often, and you're not going to get too much damage out of the grenade anyways. So for that reason, we are going to stick with these 2 aspects right here. What On Your Mark does, it basically gives you Dragon Shadow every time you dodge, and also every time you get precision final blows, but realistically, we're only using this for our dodge. We get really fast handling and really fast reload speed for I'd say like 9 to 10 seconds. It's pretty awesome, and there's no reason not to use it. And the reason why we're using Knock 'em Down is because while we're Radiant, final blows with our throwing knife fully refunds our melee energy. And I know what some people are thinking, you have to be Radiant, so what's the point? It's not that useful. It also does buff your supers as well. Something like Blade Barrage gets a huge buff, which is also really nice and what I would recommend using unless you're playing 6v6. Blade Barrage charges the quickest out of the 3, and it's really useful. I would highly recommend using it. So to get your throwing knife after every single kill, no matter if you're Radiant or not, is really simple. For the fragments, what you want to run is you want to run Ember of Torches. Powered melee attacks against your combatants make you and nearby allies Radiant. If you don't run this, you can't get your throwing knife back after every kill. Instead, it'll only be while you're Radiant, but this is the thing. When you get a kill, you're automatically Radiant, and the game kind of thinks that you were Radiant beforehand, so it just recharges your knife. And I'll show you guys an example right here without Ember of Torches and with Ember of Torches. As for the other fragments, I would suggest using Ember of Beams. This makes your projectiles a lot better in your super, and it also gives you a 10 free intellect bonus, so it's a no-brainer in my opinion. I don't think this works with Golden Gun because Golden Gun is a hit scan and not a projectile, or Blade Barrage is a projectile super. I could be wrong on that, you guys have to let me know in the comments down below, but either way, I am still using it for the intellect. Next, we have Ember of Combustion, which is actually really cool for Golden Gun because it's like the old Combustion back in Destiny 1, where every Golden Gun kill you get, they'll explode, and every Blade Barrage kill you get, they'll explode too. It's not too crazy, but it just feels nice, and it gives you a free 10 strength, so screw it. Next, we have Ember of Searing. Defeating scorched targets grants melee energy. This is actually pretty trash, but it gives you 10 recovery, and recovery obviously is very important. You want as much stats as you can take out of this thing, and there's not too many useful fragments anyways, so that's why I also recommend using this. And of course, Ember of Solace. Radiant and Restoration effects applied to you have increased duration. This is a no-brainer as well. You want Radiant and Restoration as long as possible. Now, there are some new fragments that came out, and the one fragment I suggest you can swap off of is Ember of Combustion, because honestly, it is just for show, and you don't need the strength anyways. Something else I would recommend is Ember of Char. Your Solar Ignition spread Scorch to affected targets. It's not the greatest thing for PvP, but it does give you a free 10 discipline discipline boost, which is a good plus in my opinion. If you end up using Golden Gun and you don't need Ember of Beams, you could also switch off to other things that came out, something like Ember of Empyrean. Solar Weapon or Ability Final Blows extend the duration of restoration and radiant effects applied to you. You lose 10 resilience, but who cares about resilience? I would only recommend using this if you're using a solar weapon. If you don't use a solar weapon, the odds of you taking advantage of this perk is quite low, and I would not suggest using it. And those are my recommendations on what to use. You can switch stuff up. You don't have to use exactly what I recommended because I'm not perfect. I don't use the best things ever, but to me personally, this is what helps my gameplay the most. My favorite weapons this season have been the Vigilance Wing and the No Time to Explain. I do throw some Thorn in there as well, but to be quite real with you guys, I've only really been using the Vigilance Wing and No Time to Explain. They're my two favorite pulse rifles in the game, and they're ridiculously strong at the moment. If I do end up using something like Taraba, I will swap on the Wastelander if I do want a shotgun in the kinetic slot. I'm not going to sit here and recommend every single new weapon ever, but these are the 3 weapons I had a lot of fun with this season. The Beloved, for obvious reasons, it's an S tier sniper, really nice perks. Highly recommend grinding it and crafting one. Next, you have the Drang. I made a video on this not too long ago, and if you don't know why I recommend it, go watch the video. It's one of the most fun sidearms ever, and it actually has a really good amount of zoom on it too. And lastly, we have the new shotgun. Honestly, the perks aren't too great on it. It just feels nice, and all shotguns at this point are equal. They all suck, and you might as well just use whichever one feels nice and looks nice. This one's cool. You can craft it. Go ahead. It's worth it. Of course, I'm only using Eager Edge for my heavy weapons because that's what I enjoy in PvP. I'm not going to take too much time on the armor because it's quite honestly really simple. Pulse rifle targeting, shotgun targeting, very obvious reasons for that. And I actually use pulse rifle dexterity and pulse rifle loader. I don't use fastball anymore because I don't need fastball for the healing grenade. The Vigilance Wing and No Time, in my opinion, need both of these perks because they feel kind of clunky without it. And I would highly suggest doing this if you're going to be using the healing grenade. You don't need fastball for it. Depending on if I'm shotgunning or not, I'll usually run a shotgun unflinching mod just because I have the room for it with powerful friends. And on my boots, I no longer have to use something like Scavenger, so I put on Quick Charge on my boots with shotgun holster since it is on the artifact this season. And lastly, I use double utility kickstart. This helps your dodge charge a lot quicker with high energy fire. I just want to apologize for not showing any Titan or even Warlock. I have played Warlock, but I just don't really know what I would want and what I would recommend yet. Phoenix Dive is an option, but it kind of sucks. Same for the Fragments. You only have 4 Fragment slots, and I'm not too sure what I really want to do yet. So maybe I could do another video on that specifically, but either way, I hope I helped with Hunter players specifically, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much, and like always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Later. Listen, I know you're bored and you probably got nothing to do, so why not join the Discord? Discord.gg/Wallah. Okay, thank you, bye.